Yes, g'day punters. Welcome to another huge edition of All In. We are back bigger, better, stronger than ever. And I tell you what, we won't be making any mistakes this weekend because the fields are out for the 4 Group 1s. And without further ado, Lewis Willoughby from Sky Racing, welcome.
Yeah, welcome back. I missed last week and I do apologise for that, but I'm back here on a Tuesday after the back of a long weekend. Like Dino, I think I've got a bit of hay fever going on, but we're all good. And this is a massive weekend. I've said it every year, and I've said it, even previously in the last few weeks. Day one of the championships at Randwick with the country championship race, with the Doncaster, the Derby, the TJ Smite, etc. It is my favourite day of the year anywhere in Australia to be trackside. It's the best, without a doubt. People love their slippers. Melbourne Cups, Derby's Day, Oaks Day, blah, blah, blah. But this is the one for me. I love it, so I can't wait to try and find a winner.
Love that, Louis, and you're obviously angling for a spot on STC after those comments, and that's good to see. You did nothing to help the Roosters on the weekend either, which is a disaster. Dean Watling from deanwatling.com and all 48 other jobs you have. Welcome.
Thanks, boys. Massive week. I think it's one of the better Doncasters you'll find. And a little scoop for the listeners out there, Louis Willoughby might be out on track. So bring your pens, bring your texters, you might get an autograph. So, keen to dissect it. And we got to change the show name this week, boys. It's got to be called Final Fields or something because there's not much all in about it. But I still have a couple of sneaky all in ones we'll touch on later too.
A couple of all in plays. At least we know we can't get walled this week and zig when we should have zagged. So at least we know the final fields. The barrier draws have been done for the top 4 races. The Doncaster. Wowee, what a field. But let's just touch on the elephant in the room, and that's not Dean Watling's hay fever. Even though it could easily be the weather forecast ahead, fair income. So 10 to 20 mils Thursday, 1 to 5 today. We've probably had that arrive tomorrow. 1 to 5, 10 to 20 Thursday, 40 to 80 millimeters on Friday. Like it or not, we're going to be on a heavy track of some description. Whether or not that's an 8, 9, or a 10, well, time will tell. We'll know what it'll be. 1 to 5 on Saturday. I think that's probably the best possible outcome we could have, given that there was forecast of 20 to 40 mils on Saturday. Dino, your thoughts on the track and rails in the true position? So let us know what you think's gonna sort of play out there.
Yep, I think Randwick tends to, big field, 1600 metre start. We'll touch on Doncaster. I don't think wide draws are the worst. I think inside draws probably back on the fence, a little bit cast. In saying that, small fields, I think you want to be up on speed, sort of getting to the key lanes. So obviously, angle off the corner. I don't think you want to be making up heaps of ground. If you do, you want a clear passage because the last thing you want to do is stop and start. I think the best case scenario, fellas, is maybe soft 7, soft 6 if the forecast does change. I think I'll take that right now. Heavy track. Hopefully not, but hopefully a soft track,
Yep, Louis, you're over that way in the eastern suburbs. Lucky enough to be able to live out that way on the big wages, and us battlers miles and miles out of town. We have to leave tomorrow to get there Randwick on Saturday. Meet you out there. But how's the weather been there on Tuesday afternoon?
Yes, it's been raining today. Not heavy, but it has been raining. But as I look outside now, it is clear blue sunshine. So who knows what's going on. I'm just working on wet track. I'm not trying to pick heavy or soft or whatever because in the end of the day, you can't see into the future and the Bureau get it wrong more often than they get it right. So definitely doing your form, probably favouring wet track horses over not. But, you can't be trying to guess if it's going to be a 10 or a 6 or whatever at this stage. It's too far away.
Is that a Reese Goodwin vest you got on there?
Yeah, it is. It is. There it is there.
$100 for that one.
That's 200, Reese. Beautiful. Take that off the next training bill, son. I'm about to send him an invoice for 400, so that'll do. Hey, lads, the Doncaster Group 1. Wowee, what a field. I've got a question for you on this before we get into the race, and we'll go through this. Top weight, 57 kilos. That leaves a couple of good jockeys without a ride. Is there any way, and I'm not huge on the weights and what they do here, is there any way that they can lift that top weight and then have all the weights come up a little bit so some of the better jockeys can get a ride here? Louis, it might be more your area, but 57 kilos, if they made that 59 and then all the weights came up too, you might see some better riders get a gig.
Yes, I'd never really thought of it. It doesn't bother me too much, to be fair. I think there's still some very, very sharp riders down the bottom there. Jamie Carr 50 kilos is one of them. I think a lot of the, there's no correct answer for this really, because there is great heavy jockeys who, I'll give a good example. Someone like Todd Pannell in South Australia. He's been the star jockey in SA for a very, very long time. And I'd oftentimes he's head and shoulders above the rest. He can't get below, I think it could be, I don't want to speak out of turn and get it wrong, but it could be something like 56 he can't get below. And that unfortunately rules him out for a lot of rides, which he would normally be taking. But he still works hard and gets good rides and has a good strike rate. Well, I mean, what do you do then? I don't know. It's a tricky one. Do you raise the weights then for all handicap races at this level to make sure all the good jockeys get a ride? But it's also a good breeding ground for lightweight jockeys and apprentice jockeys who are naturally lighter to gain starts in good races. I don't think there's a set answer for it. Dino, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's the niche of it. I think that's the best part about the handicap races. Probably gives those jockeys, if you look outside of it, those heavyweight jockeys, they dominate every other Group 1 when it's set weights and penalties or weight for age. So I enjoy it. I think you look back to the year, I think it's 2020 when James Innes Jr. won the race, first ever Group 1, Noitoya down the outside. I think creates a good story, but I do can see what you're saying, Gano. Like, I think Nashville's without a ride a couple of the top jockeys, but I think that's what makes handicaps so well. Like, you can get right in the weights, but then you got to find a jockey. Another Will's a perfect example. He's beat the handicapper perfectly last weekend, just snuck into the prelude, now backs up. So I know what you're saying, but I think they're good where they are.
Yeah. My only opinion on it is we're in a game of turnover, and we know turnover decreases when the best jockeys aren't riding. Anyway, that's enough on that. No one wants to hear my gripes. Let's have a chat about the Doncaster here, and we may as well go in market order because that kind of makes sense, doesn't it, Lou? Another Will, $3.50. Celestial Legends, $7. Obam Burumai, hope they've packed their flippers, $9. Militarized, $10. Lady Laguna, $13. Kovalika, $15. Detonator Jack, $15. Think About It, $17. Zugotcha, $17. Lindemann, $17. And Longer, the rest. Dino, kick us off with the 2024 Doncaster Mile.
I don't have any stats on the key lead up, so I apologise, punters. I don't have time to run that. I will do that and tweet it out. Lou, do you have any? I got barrier stats.
You've been too busy on bloody Tinder, mate.
Yep, I can. Doncaster, the key lead in is the George Ryder. I think I'm counting up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So make that 4 of the last 7 have come through the George Ryder. Only one 3-year-old in the last 8 years was Brutal in 2019. And third up and fourth up have dominated 7 of the last 8 winners, horses in that range.
Yeah, so there's a clear profile. Obviously, the Polo Stakes we'll touch on soon. But barrier stats for me, I think 13 of the last 20 winners have drawn 8 to 18. So I think if you read anything in the media this week that suggests wide gates are no good, I would suggest the other way. I think it's actually a slight advantage to draw frails, especially with a wet track, big field, good tempo. That will allow horses to springboard to those wider sort of lanes in the straight, which are going to be the best lanes later in the day as we sort of dig into the Randwick track. I think it's a ripping addition this year. There's a couple of horses I want to punch holes in. Obam Burumai needs it dry, in my opinion. I think Lady Laguna is a little bit suspect at 1,600 metres. The 2 horses that I sort of want to arrow in are another Will. I know he's the favourite. I know he's short. I think we'll get a better price on race day, but he has just completely beat the handicapper in this. His win last week was sectionally terrific. He's screaming out for this sort of setup. I know the gate's wide, but you look at the speed map, I think he can slide across with a couple of key horses, land that 3-wide line, blend into the race and get to the best lanes. I think he's a good bet in the race, and I've got to have something on Zugotcha. I really like her back this preparation. I think she's come back terrific. She eats up the mud. She gets in really well at the weights. Obviously, they targeted an Everest last preparation, which blew up in their face, and she's come back and won a Coolmore this time in. I think she's ready to go. And Chris Waller, I think he's going for 8 Doncasters, Lou. So they're the 2 plays for me. I think another Will and Zugotcha. Louis?
Yep, no idea. Absolutely no idea. What a race. If any of them lobbed, I probably wouldn't be surprised, really. I've got 3 that I've pinpointed, and the ones that I haven't, I'm not going to mention here. It's not because I don't like them. I just found these 3 maybe to be a touch over the others. First is Celestial Legend, who I think is the forgotten runner. 49 kilos, the Randwick Guineas winner. Yes, the margin spread in that race was not big, but I think they were all very sharp horses who it beat. It's trialled really well since that race. at one stage, I guess before all the hype with the current favourite, another will came around, this was the winner. And you couldn't tell anyone otherwise, Celestial Legend. This was the one. This was it. The grey at Randwick, Lesbridge. And I don't know why the chat has stopped about it. It's not done anything wrong. It's been ticked over with the trial. And you're watching that trial. It sits kind of behind midfield and just nips runs in the middle and finds the line. If it's a horse who likes doing that, well, this is going to be the perfect race for it. From a good draw, with a good jockey booked, I don't know. I think Celestial Legend is still for mine. One of the winners. Oban Buramai, I concede the problem may be the wet track. If it's on the better side of a heavy or to the high of a soft, it has to be a chance. I mean, the Golden Eagle win was great. It seemingly appreciates big fields with good tempo. Damien Lane's on. It's got a great draw. So, again, I'd be with it as long as it's not too heavy. And the one I'll tip you at a huge price. It'll be last in running, and it'll need a lot to go its way, probably some to fall over, to be fair. Lock Eagle, who is whatever. I don't even know what Lock Eagle is. It's big. Was huge from last in the Group 1 George Ryder. It has great heavy track form. 6 starts, 2 wins, 3 minors. Draws barrier 23, comes into about 19. It'll be last, hunting runs. And if they go quick enough and somehow it's just lapping up the heavy track, it can fill a hole, Lock Eagle. But I'll put them 1, 2, 3. Celestial Legend, Oban Buramai, and Lock Eagle.
That's it. How good's that? $71 tip from the great man. Ooh. Lock Eagle. Yeah, I think Lock Eagle could start tomorrow.
I love that. Gives him a compliment and just
not beat some of these though.
We'll see.
Well, they did team up. Chris Lees and Gibbons did team up to win last week, and $50 with Calipaw lose. So it might be a bit of a theme.
And, I think if people are with Hovalika, etc.
Yeah,
I think you have to give Lock Eagle.
That's a very good
similar
point.
kind of chance.
Yeah, bottomless. I think it's a chance.
Yeah. I think Celestial Legends just like such a good bet now. Like phenomenal stuff. We haven't seen him on a heavy track. However, it was a soft 6, ran a career peak. The Group 2, talk me through the name of the race. The Hobartville, 49 kilos, barrier 6, Tyler Schiller, 40 dead set. Just falls into the race perfectly. So, Celestial Legend, I had it marked $5.90, getting $7, so a clear bet. Detonator Jack's a horse, another wet tracker that wouldn't surprise to see jump out of the ground. Like barrier 2, some concern because I would have much prefer it sort of drawn middle to wide. However, it will be there or thereabouts on 4 to midfield. Ran a career peak last start and in relishes a heavy, so another horse that's right there. And another horse that I think's been pretty flat, but I think we're probably remiss of us not to mention that Militarize. So this horse is now 4th up. His career peak comes on a heavy 9, and this is the first time he gets to a heavy track. This preparation, assuming we get there, you can only look at the forecast and say 40 mils, worst case, and best case, and 80 mils worst case. We're going to be on a heavy track, but in that Sires was a heavy 9 last year, and he ran a
Champagne as well.
Yeah, another rain affected track. Ran a career peak in that size. So they're the 3, Celestial Legend, Detonator Jack, and Militarize. As far as wet tracks go, if another wheel handles the bottomless track, which I'm assuming we're going to get, well, good night, Irene. He could start him out at Bronte. He'll still win the race. So he's got to handle it, though. 7-day backup definitely helps, and the low weight. So wrap up your plays there for me, Louis.
Celestial Legend, Oban Buramai, Lock Eagle.
Dino?
Mine is Another Will and Zugotcha.
Beautiful. Celestial Legend, Detonator Jack, and can't remember my other one now. What did I say?
Militarize.
Militarize,
yes.
In absolute
It's interesting
circles.
with Militarize, isn't it? Because they had the option, obviously, to go to the Rosehill Guineas 2,000 metres last start, which we all screamed to do, and they didn't. And he ran well in the George Ryder, obviously. So it just screams to me that this has to be the target, doesn't it? The 1,600 metres. And I've been against the 3-year-olds, albeit the 2 Group 1s they've won this time in the autumn have both been handicaps. Obviously, the Newmarket Cylinder and then V8. Is that correct? That serves me right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yep. So, interesting.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting, and it'll just prove how good they are, right? Because we think they should be zigging and they're zagging and they're winning and they keep winning. So, be really interesting to see. Hey, TJ Smith, wowee, what a race! We've been waiting for this race for quite some time. It's a bit of a shame that it's most likely going to be on a rain affected going, but let's not let that hold you back. Imperatrice $3. I wish I win $3.50 first up. That's going to be interesting now. Sunshine in Paris $9. Bella Nipotina loves it wet. $13. Espiona $13. Private Eye 17. Af Cabin 17. Marzu finally gets things to go his way. $21. Johnny Rocker. Can't believe my eyes what I saw last start. 26. Chain of Lightning 26. Cylinder 34. Buenos Nachos 51. Coal Crusher 71. And Wallinga Beast $201. Lewis Willoughby, the TJ Smith.
Yep, this is the race of the day that I'm most keen to have a bet in. I want to have a really good go here, and I could easily end up with egg on my face, but that is the game we play. I'm having two bets, and the first of them is I Wish I Win, who you mentioned when you were reading the odds there for off the bat that the first up thing is a concern. This is what I went and found with I Wish I Win. Historically, races really well first up off big breaks on good tracks and wet tracks. Let me run you through these. Second to Imperatrice on a soft 7 back in September 2021. That was off a 22-week spell, and Imperatrice had race fitness. Came to Australia first in a open handicap at Caulfield, soft 6, August 2022, off 20 weeks. Didn't beat a very hot field, but did it very well. Second in a Group 1 Lightning off 14 weeks, and third in a really high rating Group 1 Memsey off 22 weeks prior to the Everest run. This horse is a first up, fresh, good running horse. I think this is a target. I'm so sure Pete Moody and Kat Coleman aren't mugs and are just going to lob it up here in a big grand final and hope for the best first up. No way, not a chance in hell. I hope that we get a better price on the day. I think we will. I think it drifts because people will be unsure about it on a heavy track. Go back to last year, it won this race on a heavy. Heavy is no concern for mine. I think this is going to end up being a very, very good bet. I Wish I Win. The one I really want to save on, and you might call me crazy, but I'm going to be having something on at $17, is Aft Cabin. 3 runs this preparation. No luck. First up behind horses in the Challenge Stakes. Just never really got a clear run to the last 100. I can forgive last start. I got a mile back, was chopped out at the furlong, and they just eased it up after that. It was out of contention. Heavy track stats, 3 starts, 2 wins and a minor placing. That includes an Arrowfield victory this time last year and a Caulfield Guineas Prelude win over Amenable, who we know is very smart, on a heavy 10. Third up gets Zach Purton, big race jockey. I think it's been completely missed by the market. It is desperate for a heavy track, I think, Aft Cabin. It really, really wants one. So that means I'm against Imperatrice and a few others. I'm really keen to bet up these two. I Wish I Win and Aft Cabin. Dino?
Yeah, I love that push. Everything in your mind as a form analyst, you look at a Group 1, 1,200 metres on a bog track, which you might be. First up off a long break just screams no. But then I think you make such a good point. You look back at his form. I remember his I Wish I Win's run. I think it was in the Lightning Stakes, first up 1,000 metres last preparation, and we all declared him his Newmarket winner, and then he's a little bit flat. So I think all these good runs, like you mentioned, I think if he draws a better gate in the Everest, he goes close to winning that. I think gate 4, the biggest thing is for J-Mac is to stay off the rails. I think if he stays off the rails and has a little bunny on his inside and get the best lanes, I think he's the bet in the race. And I think the other bet has to be Sunshine in Paris. She was outstanding in a Galaxy. I know she's untested on wet tracks, but she just gives me the idea, and I think the Invaders do handle it pretty well. So I like this race like you, Louis. I'm keen to bet up I Wish I Win and Sunshine in Paris. Gunner.
Triple threat, party horse, I Wish I Win. He's been the bet all along. I'm with you, Louis. Like, this day's been heavy 9 to soft 7 for the last since Dino was a sparkle in his old man's eye. We haven't seen a good track on this day for quite some time, and I think they'd be well aware that what they need this horse to, where they need this horse to be. I'd be pretty sure that, they would have had him. He'll be right up to the mark. This is grand final day for this horse, and I have no doubts that he'll be fit. Was on $10 million, ready to add another X amount of squillion after he wins this. I can get him as low as $2. It's playing around with numbers and what he's done and career peaks and rain affected tracks, and then I'm winding a hell of a lot of these out, considering they're not proven here. Interesting, Imperatrice has a really, really good heavy track run in New Zealand. Like a
Bino Invincible too. Doesn't make sense, does it?
Heavy track 105 here, which came out of nowhere, and then since then has been there or thereabouts. Maybe she was just learned how to race better at that point in time. Maybe it was just something that happened that clicked for her. But she hasn't been seen on a heavy track since. Don't be surprised to see her go really, really well. I know she's probably going to go really well anyway, but I think she'll run up to her best. However, I don't think she's going as well as what she was last preparation, and I think I Wish I Win is a superior sprinter. Louis, you've got something to say. You seem very keen.
This is going to be a bit dribbly.
Yeah.
But I was on Twitter today and I saw...
Yeah, you got me.
Yep. I'm not sure who posted the photo, so I can't give you credit. But it was Imperatrice out at Botany Bay near the plains doing some beach work.
Yeah.
And she was bucking and kicking in the water. Dribbly. I'm no horse, equine person, but I think that means the horse is feeling pretty well within itself. Seemingly is up here to do a job, So I think if you're worried about Imperatrice not being at her best and this and that, okay, she might be on the track just a few steps below, but within herself, seemingly, she looks pretty good.
Yep, absolutely.
She's going to get a chance too, isn't she? Like gate 6, she's going to get every possible chance to win this race. I think it just comes... I'm fascinated to see what the market does. Like, she's $3 now. I think it's either going to go big one way or big the other way. Like, she's either going to be a big drift and they're going to crunch something else, or she's going to get smacked into $2 or something like that. They're just going to arrow in on her. So we can all create that narrative that she's maybe off her best, but the big data guys, they don't really care about the narrative. They care about the numbers. So I am fascinated to see what this market does.
They also care about how she's hanging around that sand and water at Botany, and Louis giving her the big kick. So that's significant. What I will say, Louis, if you want to ensure that she can't get the job done, just get a very attractive model, put her next to Imperatrice and put her on the back page of Daily Telegraph, and she won't be able to get the job done on Saturday. I've got one message for Pete Moody and Catherine Coleman. Keep I Wish I Win away from any model shoots this week. Just please don't stop him. He'll be getting the job done. Hey,
send Dino instead to those models.
Dino, if Dino found out the address, he'd just turn up. Hey, righto, let's do the Derby, the Australian Derby, and this looks like a pretty good race. There's a field of, I mean, we got turning up here 14, which is pretty good turnout, and I think we're going to go through the runners in market order quickly. Riff Rocket 350s are Dozy. A nice little push there late last week that this horse would be heading in that direction. $4. Tom Kitten $6. Wymark $7. Hay Fever's playing up again. Seawolf $9. Cap for A15s. Immediates here 15s. Gan Beret 26. Noisy Boy 26 and longer the rest. Louis, kick us off for the Derby.
Yep, I'll be pretty quick here. My staying form is not much good when I'm doing reviews and whatever. I tend to focus on those 1,600 meters and below. So
what about the races?
Yeah, right. Now, what I've elected to do here is I went and looked at the sectionals versus all benchmark averages of these runners leading in. And what I've decided to do is, because I didn't think there was much splitting them, I'm going to stick with the classic Derby lead-in, which was who won the Group 2 Tulloch Stakes and backed up 7 days later to win the Derby, and that is Wymark. So five of the last 8 Derby winners come through the Tulloch, and 4 of those 5 had won it. That was Wymark. Breeding suggests that heavy should be no issue. It doesn't have the best draw, so it just needs a bit of luck in running to find the running line with cover. And it's up against some pretty smart horses, but if history can repeat, I think that's the way it will go with Wymark. Dino?
Yep. Oh, I like the 7-day backup theory you have, but I'm going to go the other way and through the binary stud stakes. Oh, I love the run in Zardozi. I think Orchestra was outstanding, but Zardozi had to do as much work when obviously Tudor Levita took off, had to cut the whole race up there, nothing to tow you into it. She's staying a huge run. Backup, we saw her win down in Flemington Carnival last year to win the Oaks on the quick backup. Oh, I think a wet track just adds layers to her. Not 100% sure she's going to turn up, and the price probably isn't as juicy as we'd like. So if we're going to back her post 9 a.m. on race morning, because she's obviously going to run. She has the option of the Oaks next week, potentially. But I really love the setup here for Zardozi, Gunnar. Yeah,
it's an interesting race. I'm actually going to go with the other form line, probably the one that you guys haven't even gone through, which is the Rosehill Guineas. It rates clearly superior to the other ones. I I think they're the class horses coming through, and I think they're the horses you want to be with in the future. It's just a question of whether it's Riff Rocket, Sea Wolf, or Cap Foray. Are you going to lean towards, out of those horses around top three, who's going to handle, the track best, and what price are we getting best? So Cap Foray by Snitzel, I'm desperate for that horse to get up. So there's, I've been tipping it every time for the last 1,000 runs. Sea Wolf by Tavistock, New Zealand bred. I can't imagine that horse is going to have too many issues getting through a rain affected track, and I think his foot's properly on the till. I'm going to lean that way. Purely from a price perspective, was $11, now $9. I think he'll start much shorter, and I think he's the one to beat. Blake Shin aboard, and Blake seems to be riding with a point to prove, especially when he comes to Sydney, fellas. So, Sea Wolf for me, and I think that the Rosehill Guineas form will stand up. Louis, your tip for the Derby?
Yeah, why mark?
And Dino?
Yep, Zardozi for me.
Beautiful. Just thought we'd go over those because I dribbled on for so long. Righto, here we go. The size, 1,400 metres. What a cracking race this is. So we get to see Lady of Camelot come up against Stormboy and much of this Golden Slipper form line. There might be a couple of horses here who didn't quite make it to the Slipper. Duvana, Vianara, another. But this is a cracking race, and Node being another one as well there. Off the top, Stormboy 250, Lady of Camelot very, very well back. $6 into $4.50 already. Manal, $6. Traffic Warden, 6 out to 7. Common, 11s into 9s. And Node, 15s to 17s. Prost, 15 to 21. Fearless, 15 to 21. Just kind of fell in at Newcastle, I think, the other day. Giovanna, $51. And Vianara, $101. Dino, kick us off for the size.
Yep, I think the draw's awful from now. I'm concerned if we get a wet track, I think the last thing you want to do is trying to loop the field. Can win the race, but the draw concerns me. I think it's a 2-horse race to the top. He's Stormboy. Don't think there's any value in that. He's sort of priced like he won the Golden Slipper. It's the key form line. You look back for history, and it's what's produced the most wins for this. I just think Lady Camelot's an easy bet here. She's produced 2 figures now that are superior to what Stormboy's done in the Magic Moons 2-year-old. Her run first up this preparation, and then I think her run obviously to win the Golden Slipper. So 1,400 metres, you can make that a query, but I just think she's going to settle on speed. She handles all conditions. She's going to be out of trouble. I think she is the play in this race. Lou?
Leave me way out of this. 2-year-olds on a heavy track, most of which getting to 1,400 metres for the first time. I'll be at the bar while this race is happening, and I'll be asking you two who won.
Absolutely love it. I don't see any value in this market whatsoever. Look, I want to ask you guys a few questions though. Traffic Warden, luckless, seemingly.
Yep.
In the Golden Slipper. What price we're getting there? $7. Probably seems
in the diamond too. It was there.
It was too.
Proper fit. Been up for a little while, but
Probably suits the weekend.
If anyone's going to do it, keep them up for a while. Jimmy's probably the one of the 4 or 5 trainers that you'd be pretty keen to keep them going. What do you reckon, lads? Do you give this horse any chance? What price do you need to back Traffic Warden, Louis?
I'd take $7. I think that's all right bet.
Yep.
I agree with Dino. Stormboy's way too short at 250. Especially, I know it had excuses inside part of the track, but looking at sectionals, it wasn't necessarily savaging the line. Oh, gee, what a good thing! Beat 1,400. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Well, Manal and Traffic Warden came through the same part of the track.
Yeah, Manal, I really liked out of the run in the Slipper, but I know Dino's point that it hasn't been given any favours here on the weekend.
Yeah, but so my thing on this is I wanted to back Manal, but I thought we might get $10.
Yeah, well found.
And $6.
It's short. Yeah,
it's very short. So what I'm hoping is we'll just wait and see what happens. And I think Dino's spot on. They'll be willing to risk this horse from that barrier. And I think at which point now Manal, she can become a bet. Coleman, no one's mentioned Coleman. Dead set. A lip off winning the Slipper, and they opened him $11. Dino.
The query for me is just 1,400 metres. I think he got tired late in a Slipper, albeit had a perfect run, and that's my concern with him. But I've been sort of wrong with him. was heavily against him in the diamond. He put up with an issue and then bounced back there. I just don't like 1,400 metres for him. I think that's the big query. And back on Stormboy, I think there's two ways you can look at the slipper. He's either trained off and he's cast, and the other way you can think of it is he's screaming out for 1,600 metres and maybe he just didn't want 1,200 metres for a slipper so he could jump out of the ground. But like I think we mentioned, he's priced like he's going to jump out of the ground. So, yeah.
So I got this one for you, lads, and here's something we probably need to, before I give you my tip, consider. How many of these horses is this race an afterthought for? Lady Camelot, maybe Blue Diamond gone to the well, Golden Slipper gone to the well. Stormboy, they're probably always looking to go for Triple Crown. Coleman, afterthought,
massive afterthought.
A Node, 50-50, right? Horses been around a fair bit. Manal, probably we're going to go here, I'd suggest.
Yep.
Traffic Warden seems like an afterthought.
Yep, just keeps going good.
Fearless, probably where they want to come, but maybe just a run below. There's a horse I'm really, really keen on, Duvana, and you're getting around $71. If it's going to be a bottomless track, like the horse was legless last start, like proper concerning stuff. It's basically around 7 lengths below what it produced the run before, which was in the Skyline Stakes. If it runs up to a Skyline Stakes and relishes rain affected 1,400 metres by a done deal, you could do worse and have a few bucks on it. So I'm going to have a few dollars, like a 1x4 play on Giovanna, and just hope we get lucky and hope some of these have turned it up, because they are, as you said in the beginning, Louis, 2-year-olds on a heavy track. So if I want to be betting, I want to be taking double figures something. So Giovanna is my play. Righto, Dino, you mentioned earlier you had some all-in plays for us because the name of the show is All In, so we better throw a few of those out there. And Louis, hit us up after Dino with anything you've got. Feel free to go first, Dean.
Yep. Back on the size while I get these fields up. Yeah. Back on the sides, before I forget, I think the summary of what we're saying is if we're going to bet those horses that are in the market, wait till Saturday to figure out this track. If you like Gano's tip, chime in now because it's a good price. The ones that I had, if you give me 2 seconds, I've got to bring them up if my computer loads. No.
Fascinating stuff. Louis, you got yours?
Yeah, I do. I've got one in the PJ Bell Stakes. And this is an all-in market. Not sure it's going, but I had a look. It's a Victorian runner who isn't nominated for anywhere else on Saturday, so I'm hoping they lob up. It's $51 in the PJ Bell Stakes. It's a horse named Isthmus for the Freedmans. It went last start to the Don Calbolt Classic at the Valley behind Gumdrops. Sat on speed in a race where they all swooped. It sat third, finished fifth, beaten 2.5 lengths. The horse that led got beaten 17 lengths in last. The horse that ran second got beaten 11 lengths in second last. So the shape was completely against. It had won 2 on the bounce prior in midweek grade. It looks a smart horse, and it's a great betting race too, and a race I really wanted to find a winner in. So for me, that's a little all-in play at a big price, $51 for Isthmus.
How about the move for Miraval Rose, Begg's horse? Graham Begg, wow, 15's into 450.
And you know what'll be here because Graham's bringing a lot of horses to Sydney at the moment, so it'll lob up. First up, though, on a heavy track. I had a few concerns on a few of them first up heavy track. Maybe not Isthmus.
Yep, they know the way to do it, but Isthmus for Louis in the PJ Bell. Dino, your plays all in.
Yep, Kindergarten Stakes, Espionage didn't go around the slip. He'll be winning that race. Bet Saturday, though. There's no juice in that price. And in the Easter Cup, really keen to bet play here. First Immortal, short enough now. I think it can run and win this race. And Carini given absolutely none up to 2,000 metres. I think that's a good race to target. First Immortal and Carini in the Easter Cup, as well as Espionage in the Kindergarten Stakes.
Absolutely love it. Righto. Mate, got any of that merch floating around your house?
I'm merched out. Maybe we can get Reese to. What about your puffy you got on at the moment?
Yeah, maybe you can sign that puffer jacket, that Reese good puffer jacket, and give it away to the fans.
Yeah, I'd be more likely to have to sell this one off my own back than him give away anything.
We'll hit up Reese, see what he can do for us. Righto. Punters, why don't you go out there to the YouTube channel, give us your Doncaster winner, give us your Sires winner.
I like this.
Yeah, the two. Give us the Doncaster winner, your Sires winner.
And the TJ.
If you can pick those three, I'll buy you a Reese Goodwin vest.
Yeah,
Would cost me
Oh, I know.
400, and I'll send it to you. They're the 3 races. What are the races, Dino? The TJ, the size.
TJ, size, and the Doncaster.
You
Pick all
pick those 3.
winners.
I'll even get Reese and Louis to sign it for you.
If someone picks those 3, they can take my spot on this show. What are we talking about?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, that's unfair. Doncaster and size. Done.
All right.
Done. Love it. Hey, good stuff, lads. Always good fun. Always good fun when the fields are finalised. At least we know where we're going. Hopefully, we get a few winners. Hey, before we jump off, it is Tuesday. Do you have a winner for Wednesday racing at Newcastle, or potentially might be God's Carpet down there in Melbourne? Where are they racing down there? Oh, Ballarat. Dino, what do you got?
I've got Newcastle, race 7, number 6, Willing the Freefall. It's in the, I think it's the wild card for Provincial Midway. I think it will be winning. Super last start at Gosford. Should be winning the race. Race 7, number 6 at Newcastle Wednesday. Lou, anything?
Yep, no idea if they race at Ballarat on the turf or the synthetic. Either way, I think it'll be a good day for Godolphin and Jamie Carr. Race 3, number 6, Snack Bar. Ran second at Ballarat here on debut at a $16 chance. Not getting that now. It's probably unders, to be fair, but if you get around that 240 mark on the day, that's a bet. Race 3, number 6, Snack Bar. And race 7, number 11, Simplicity, a last start winner again. Godolphin, Jamie Carr, I think, can make it back-to-back victories. Race 7, number 11.
Yep, Newcastle tomorrow, race 1, number 4, Queen GM. A little bit soft first up. I think Go Well second up. And the favourite's just a little bit vulnerable there, Duke of Bronte. And not really sure why it's $2.30. I had it marked closer to $4.50. And I think I had Queen GM closer to sort of the $2.80 mark. So that's a bet for me. Newcastle, race 1, number 4. Hey, thanks everyone for chiming in, listening, watching, viewing, whether you're in your car at home. Sure, it's quite unfortunate if you've put us up on your TV and you've had to watch us, but thank you very much. Leave us a comment and maybe send Dino some Zyrtec. Dean Watling from deanwatling.com. How do we get your stuff? Go to the website?
Yep, go to the website or just jump on Twitter. I'll be posting those stats as well. Plenty of stats to come up this week. I'll be posting on Twitter. So jump on
that, man. At Dean Watling?
Yep, at Dean Watling.
Easy. And Louis, where do we get you?
Sky One every morning. I'll see you there.
The early line. We had the early line. The early line.
Morning line.
The morning line. Now I'm going to sound like a liar, but we had it on this. We had it on this. Oh no, it's terrible. We did have it on this morning in the pro shop, and there's at least 40 people. At least 40 people watching. So I'm not sure if that'll help your viewers if it's just 1 or 40, but just let them know in the office there were actually 40 people watching, not 1.
All right.
Any of my stuff, if you're crazy enough, to go tipoff.com, search me again, and that's simple. Righto, we'll be back bigger, better, stronger the week 2 of the championships. Bye for now.
Ciao.
Ciao, Bell.